Well, hello, my radio friends. Now, I promised a video that I would explain the procedure that I go through melting out these catacombs for the early radiolas, and here we are. First and foremost, I want you to get a bread pan, like a loaf pan from the dollar store, as well as a big roasting pan. When during the process, you're going to be placing the bread can directly underneath the cat, and you're going to place that bread pan inside a large roasting pan, just as an actual as a safety. If anything happens to drip or whatever, you've got something to cover and catch. And now, once your chassis is removed from the set, this is essentially what you're going to see is a can such as this. Remove these 6 screws on top, remove the cover. Once that cover is removed, you're going to see what one sees here. I want you to take 4 of those screws, remount them back into here, and affix wires to them as one sees here. And then get a coat hanger, make some little small S-hooks, little short S-hooks, and one's going to hang this from the top rack in your oven. Now, notice I said oven. I've heard people talking about barbecue grills and so forth. Let me say this. Do not use a barbecue grill. That there is just absolutely no way to regulate your temperature sufficiently to what one's going to need to do this job properly. The oven has a huge benefit, as there's enough space top to bottom as one can hang this cat and then slide this can off it and allow it to drip into your bread pan. People talk about using toaster ovens. Once again, if you place this inside a small toaster oven, you heat this whole thing up, and then you're still left with extracting the chassis from that rosin and having no place to really let it drip and run clean. The oven allows you to hang it and run and let it drip very, very clean. Cannot emphasize that enough. Now, once you have this hung from the top oven rack, place your large roasting pan with the bread pan in it directly underneath your cat. Turn your oven to 275 degrees and let it sit. This is not a 10-minute process. This is going to take time. And at the approximately hour and a half point, you're going to grab your can with, I use oven mitts, and whichever oven mitts you use, but rest assured you're going to be discarding them. So get some oven mitts you do not care about, and start sliding this can off of the inside chassis. If for some reason it doesn't come down real readily, let it sit. You don't want to pull hard on this can and if you do, one does, it's possible you could cause harm to the small wires within with the resin pulling on those wires. So let it melt, let it get very, very liquidy, and then slide the can off. Lower the can into your bread pan. Bump your temperature to 300 degrees. This second part will go considerably faster. Once you bump the temperature to 300 degrees, you're going to notice the resin will start to flow rather readily. I'm going to strongly suggest you don't go above 300 degrees. I've never had one yet that 300 wasn't sufficient enough to melt off the rosin within. Once it's melted, once you get down to approximately 1 drop per minute, one can rest assured it's clean to the point where you'll be able to do everything you need to do to make necessary repairs. And when your drops are, once again, 1 drop a minute, turn your oven off. I open the door, and I actually slide the racks out, that's just me, and let it cool. At this point, I go get a sandwich, go get something to drink. I come back in about a half hour, maybe 45 minutes or so after it's cooled sufficiently, and I extract it from the oven. At that point, you're done with the bake out. And then at that point, one's just left having to do the repairs and ohming and checking all the coils within. Not a terribly difficult task, just time consuming. Now, the rosin that is in here, for what it's worth, some people save it for restuffing paper caps in 30 sets. It's a great flux for soldering as well, and you will have plenty when it's left over. Do not put the rosin back in the can. It changes composition with the additional heat, and it gets much more rigid. It discolors. So do not put rosin back in the can. Leave the can empty. Merely mount your chassis back in. And that way it makes it much easier for repairs later on. Well, I hope that answered some questions. If you happen to have any more additional questions, by all means, feel free to ask. And of course, as always, until next time.